Hello, we're with Mining Journal and Mining Magazine's 2021 Tailings Program. I'm Nadav Shemer, and with me is Robin Bolton, Executive Sustainability at IsoMetrix, and also owner of IsoMetrix Tailings Offering. IsoMetrix is a leading global developer of software solutions for integrated risk management. Robin, you have extensive experience with tailings facilities and tailings operators, particularly across Africa. What are some of the challenges that your clients are currently speaking about in relation to management of the tailings facilities?
Yeah, hi, Doug. Thanks very much. So yes, my background really started off with on the environmental aspects of the initial studies and permit applications and receiving those permissions for the tailings constructions and operations. So from that, I was exposed to a lot of the challenges that tailings facilities bring, and then also what sort of mitigation measures that need to be put in place for these tailings facilities. So, bringing it up to today, it's the same challenges, a lot of them. It's your environmental, your social, your operating challenges. You've got your more emphasis or more interest in tailings facilities, probably for the wrong reasons because of the recent, lot of the bad incidences that have happened. So the main challenges, well, in no particular order, it's certainly tailings dams are in remote regions, and often that poses a problem to, getting there, to gathering data, to taking measurements, key measurements, be them operating related, environmental related. It's the climate change aspects of bringing new risks that need to be understood and catered for. Things like different rainfall patterns. It might be more intense rainfalls. It might be less rainfalls in other areas. So a lot of these changes need to be understood. And, it's risk management at the end of the day, and then understanding those right controls that you need to put in place to manage those risks. So it's a changing scenario, changing environment that operators need to understand and adapt to, but a bit more of the sort of common challenges, I would say also, being able to action or implement suggestions, recommendations, actions on these facilities are not always very responsive, probably delayed. It's, messages or policies or agreements from a corporate level, not necessarily always going down to site level. I've come across some of those experiences. I don't think tailings operators and the management of tailings embraces technology to the extent it should. I think it lags behind, and we'll talk a little bit about that a little bit later. There are companies that understand the risk process very well, understand the emergency preparedness concept. If there is a catastrophic event or some sort of event, what plans are in place? Have they got any sort of susceptible or high risk individuals, community members in the way of those dams? This whole sort of emergency preparedness scenarios. I don't always think that those are well understood and well practiced, so that, should it ever happen, an event happens that, there's no casualties and minimal environmental damage. So I think those are still some of the main challenges operators face and actual, tailings facilities pose. Look, things have changed since the last year in 2020, the publishing of the global industry standard on tailings management, and that's certainly shaken the industry up a bit in terms of the attention tailings dams have to be given. And also it does highlight where, in my view, technology can really play a useful part. So I would hope that, yes, technology does get embraced more in the management of tailings facilities.
So in regards to the technology, obviously you mentioned that there has been a lag in terms of the uptake of technology, but looking at it, well, what are some of the ways that it has been implemented at present in order to de-risk these facilities from a safety standpoint?
Yeah, all right. So water is a very important part of any tailings facility, and you need close monitoring of those of water aspects, be it within the actual dam itself, be it the water quality that's going into a facility or coming out of a facility, perhaps what's discharged to the environment or reused in a process plant. So water aspects are very important. So yes, there's been good advancements in using devices and technology to capture certain measurements, be them flow measurements or water quality measurements or pressures within a tailings facility. There's a lot of technology available there. If it's being used extensively, I don't think so yet. So that's one aspect where I've certainly seen some great advancements. There are also great advancements in managing certain assets, be it water pumps and crucial aspects around a facility. There's also, in the last couple of years, on the surveillance side, specifically with sort of satellite surveillance, understanding possible movements of facilities, having a good view of what's happening on top of the facility, the size of water ponds on top of facility. So, through your satellite imagery and other, let's bring it down a bit to drones and that those have proven to be pretty useful, and certainly there's been a big what's the word, not quite trend, but interest in those type of imagery to manage dams. Some of the other sort of available technology, which I don't think necessarily has been explored enough or utilized enough, would be things like doing more remote monitoring. So preventing people from going out to these tailing sites, which can be a bit expensive. At the same time, unsafe at times, and certain facilities may be closed off, so they're not active anymore, but they just require certain environmental monitoring, social monitoring, those things. And a lot of that can be done remotely, and there are devices that can help with various environmental aspects, be it water, like I've spoken about, air quality, weather information, pressure information, some of those critical indicators around a dam. There's certain devices that can be used and deployed out there, even certain cameras, be it thermal for where a facility might be combustible, to just tracking any sort of movement or vibrations or earthquakes type of thing. So there's definitely technology available. It can be linked up through the Internet of Things and provided to any third party or the company itself. There's a myriad of ways that data can be managed. It can go to data warehouses, managed there, and only sort of exceptions or certain summaries sent through to certain people who want to see information. So that definitely helps. What it also brings is a much more immediate view of information. Previously, or still current practices, actually, if somebody went out to a site, gathered information, came back, it would take sometimes several days before a decision maker might see certain information, and by that time it might be a little bit late. So the nice thing is a lot of this information can be immediate. A management system is another useful in technology. Now, the global standard also mentions about having environmental management systems and just a tailings management system in general. And in my mind, that means, happening to data, what's happening to audit findings, what's happening to engineers' recommendations, where are they managed, how are they actioned, how are you closing out those actions? And certainly management systems can bring a lot of efficiencies when it comes to aspects like that. And, I think there was one other point, sorry, I wanted to mention. A lot of the sort of inquiries we've been getting relates to alignment with this global standard, and like the ICMM, which also had certain requirements or principles. And it certainly makes it easy when you have systems to be able to gauge yourself or respond to how you're aligning with those standards and being able to report on them. Easier to show transparency, to say, right, come in, have a look where our data is managed. We've got data security, on our system. It's centralized. We're not going to lose data. And it just makes it easier for third parties to view that. So those are some of the ideas where, or concepts are actually available now for assisting in managing tailings facilities, reducing that risk profile, making them safer, and those type of things. The last one I remembered I wanted to bring up is just also regarding alerts and notifications. So, when data perhaps doesn't conform or out of a limit or threshold, you can set triggers and notifications so that, the right person gets or made aware of, a situation. They can respond and react a lot quicker than, than previously, where it takes several days perhaps to be aware of a situation. So that response time can also be cut right down through, using technology. So yeah, some of the benefits that I've seen out there.
You're putting a lot of these concepts into action yourself at IsoMetrix. So what are some of the solutions that you provide to tailings operators?
Yeah, good. So we've certainly, as IsoMetrix, tried to bring in a lot of the pain that companies are experiencing and operators are experiencing into a system to help alleviate that, help manage aspects. So, several years ago, we embarked on a very focused tailings management solution. And to be honest, it doesn't necessarily have to be tailings. It could be any mine waste facility where there's risk involved, where, perhaps monitoring is needed, where there's compliance around it. And so what we offer as IsoMetrix in that specific focus solution is aspects such as being able to conduct your inspections and audits and capture those findings. And then if there are corrective or preventative actions needed, being able to log those, notify people, and track until closure. Very importantly, also the incidents. If there is a incident, it can be investigated and closed out all through the system with timelines and notifications, so that you can be rest assured that an incident is going to be properly investigated and closed out. Other useful aspects I mentioned about the drills or the emergency procedure. So again, it's very useful, and this is one of the other sort of modules within the solution, to be able to schedule a drill, invite attendees, conduct that drill. For example, a drill could be, let's see how quickly our community can evacuate from a potential flow path if a tailings dam collapsed. You can run that drill, make observations, capture those findings, and then implement additional controls or those observations you're picking up, so that you improve on that. Maybe the warning siren didn't go off, or maybe people just took too long to get out the way. So those are all things then you can capture in a system, track them, close them out. We have dashboards that can also show the data, visualize the data, which is quite useful. So these are all useful aspects to the whole, or the sort of holistic management of a dam. And then recently we've just been working more on aligning it with that global tailings standard. Things like they mention, management of change and training as specific examples. So, IsoMetrix fortunately have those modules just under other solutions of ours. It's just a matter of bringing those concepts in. So we can, I can, confidently say that we're pretty well aligned with that global standard. It certainly would tick the box as a tailings management system. A lot of the discussions with interested parties at the moment are along integrating with other systems or getting data in the system. So there's a lot of talk about integrations, getting data through IoT devices. So that's, almost a standard discussion on tailing systems at the moment. How are we going to gather all this data? Sometimes it's mass data. How do you manage that? So which is encouraging because that means they do have, these devices out there measuring data. It's just about how we get it into one central system. So yes, that's what IsoMetrix offers at the moment on that space.
Thanks for your time and for taking us through the solutions that are being used and could be used in future to monitor tailings facilities. Thanks.